Good morning, Bonneville County. You have just joined Breakfast with the Cooks. I am Senator Cook from Bonneville County in District 30. I do this every Saturday morning at 10 a.m. when we're in session, and just kind of sporadic whenever I have something to say that is important that I think that I need to share, then I do it as well, Saturday mornings at 10 a.m. And I do have something important to share that I think that we need to discuss regarding the legislative session that we just ended this week. A little disappointing, but I wanted to share with what went on there. Before I start, I would like to share. I always like to start my Breakfast with Cooks with a trivia question, and my trivia question today is: Idaho has the world's largest factory for what? And it has the capacity of 120,000 metric tons per year. So what is it? What do we produce? The largest factory in the world. Okay, kind of interesting. We'll talk about the answer when we get through with our Breakfast with the Cooks at the end. So anyway, as many as you know, we went back into session. Monday morning, 7 a.m., we had a caucus meeting, and that was the start of the session, at least for the senators, and I believe the House started at 8 a.m., if I remember right. So what happened? I don't mind saying I'm embarrassed. I felt like I had been kicked in the gut. I took 3 days off work to go back to Boise to represent Idaho people, and was very optimistic that I would come home something to help Idaho, and we came home with basically nothing. And so before I start, let me just share a Reader's Digest of how a bill, the life cycle of a bill. And most of you probably already know that, but let me just go through it real quick. So if I have some legislation that I want, first of all, the pro tem, the leadership, decides, well, do we want to hear it or not? So he makes a judgment there that that's not going to be heard. If he says, yes, it'll be heard, then he assigns it to a committee. And the committees that this session was everything went through the State Affairs Committee. So the committee would look at that. They would read through the legislation. I would come up as the sponsor. I would present the bill, take any questions. A debate would take place. We would have testimonies from the public. They would come in and testify for or against it or ask questions. And then in the end, the committee would make a motion. And there's three possible motions or three possible outcomes of the committee. One is they would motion to send this to the floor with a due pass. Okay, in other words, we like it, send it to the floor and let them vote on it. Second one is to motion to hold the bill. In other words, kill it. It's not going anywhere. And the third one is to make no motion. No motion happened, and so nothing happens again. It's dead. Okay, so if the committee votes to say, yep, it's good, we want to send it to the floor, then it comes to the floor, and there the senators will debate it, and we'll vote on it, and if it passes, then we send it to the House. Again, the House would assign it to a committee, and it basically goes through the same thing. The House can kill it, or the committee in the House can kill it or accept it, vote on it. If they accept it and vote to move forward, then it goes to the floor of the House, and there the floor, they debate it and vote for it as well. If it passes in the House, then it goes to the governor, and the governor can sign it into law, or he can veto it. And so that's a quick Reader's Digest of what happens in order to get some legislation to become law. So here's what kind of happened this week, starting bright and early Monday morning. So the Senate had some pretty awesome bills, at least I thought. I was excited about it. I was willing to say, yes, I want to go into session. Let's go into session. Let's vote on some of these bills and make some things happen. However, as these bills got to the State Affairs Committee, there was lots of good testimony, lots of good debate, but the decision was these will be only information only. We will not vote on them. They will not be sent to the House floor, to the Senate floor, or anything else. It's just information. And so never had a chance to vote on some of the Senate bills that were written up, and which really kind of felt bad because I thought they were good bills. So, not the end of it. I think, okay, fine. The House has some great bills. I think they had 36 to 38 bills that they had written up, legislation. Of course, those get whittled down as it goes through the course of their State Affairs Committee. It's not quite called that, but it's close to that, though. So they whittled it down, and then it went to the floor on the House, and again, they chucked out some, and so they got kind of the best of the best. And then it came to the Senate. And there in the Senate, it was, I believe, it was assigned to the State Affairs. And again, I don't know how many were assigned to the State Affairs, but in the end, the State Affairs Committee heard three bills that came out of the House. And again, I was excited about those bills. I thought they were great bills, and that we would be able to do some work and represent Idaho good and help them. So the first bill, House Bill 414. This bill was sponsored by Representative Moyle, and however, Representative Moyle, okay, again, these legislators, we all have full-time jobs, we're all working. He had to leave for an emergency. He had to go get a tractor fixed so that things could get going back on the farm. And so he wasn't able there to sponsor his bill. Instead, he had Senator Rice, Jim Rice, to sponsor the bill. I really like Senator Rice. He seems to have a good handle on the Constitution, has great knowledge of what you can and can't do based on the United States Constitution as well as the Idaho State Constitution. So anyway, this bill was about a religious exemption. Now, we already have several laws on the book regarding religious exemptions. We have one at the federal level, and we have one at the Idaho State level that says you need to provide religious exemptions and to honor those. Okay, so that's on the books. So this bill, though, well, what we were seeing was some employers, okay, so an employer says you got to have a mandate, you got to be vaccinated, or it's conditional. If you're going to work here, you got to get vaccinated. Well, several employees filled out a religious exemption, handed that into the employer, and some of the employers looked at that reason, the religious exemption, and made a judgment call and said, you know what? I don't believe that. I don't think you're being sincere. I don't think you're as religious as you think you are. I think you're just making this up. I don't know about you, but I don't want someone judging me on the religious content or the religious part of my heart. Being a Christian, I'm grateful that God is my judge, and that's who my judge is. So what does this bill do? This bill basically says it is illegal for an employer to judge the sincerity of one's religious exemption, that they need to accept it as is. Okay? That's what it was. Well, that's good. I like it. This is great. So they argued it. They debated it. They had, there was about 3.5 hours of people coming and testifying, all from around the state of Idaho. They only had 2 minutes, but then you had questions about what they were thinking and what they were saying, and then a debate in between each of those. And so it went for 3.5 hours. We had great people from all over the state of Idaho. Some of them had traveled 8 hours from the very tip top of Idaho and brought their 3-year-old with them and were there for 3 days. Anyway, so the bill was debated, and then in the end, the chairman says, okay, do I have a motion? Senator Anthem made a motion to recommend that this bill go to the Senate floor with a do pass recommendation. And after he made that recommendation, it went deathly quiet. You could have heard a pin drop. Nobody seconded it. And so without a second, the bill died. That was the end of House Bill 414. And a little upset because I thought that is an awesome bill. But we got two more really, really good bills. Okay, let's move forward. Didn't work out the way I wanted, fine. Hopefully there's something else. So again, House Bill 414, we never got to see it on the Senate floor. We never got to vote it. So the next bill comes up, House Bill 417. This one's sponsored by Representative Monk and Representative Skog. It passed the House on a vote of 67-3. That's almost 100% of votes on it. Only 3 people voted against this bill. So this is again another great bill. This bill was about worker compensation. Okay, in Idaho has workers' compensation laws that require companies to provide wage replacement payments, medical expense reimbursements, and other benefits to employees who suffer a work-related accident, illness, injury. Okay, so in other words, if my employer has a defaultive, widget, and he says, you will use this widget to do your function. Okay, so I do it. Say it's scaffolding, okay? And the scaffolding collapses, I fall, I break a leg, break an arm, whatever, okay? An accident. I am out of work for 2 months. Worker compensation is supposed to kick in and pay for my lost wages, help me medically to get better, to get back on the job. Okay, so if an employer comes out and says, we mandate that you get vaccinated, okay, fine. But what happens if I get injured through the process of getting vaccinated, or the vaccination itself reacts to me and puts me out of work for a month as I'm trying to heal and overcome it, or worse yet, some physical change happens in my body? Shouldn't workers' compensation take care of that? And I thought, well, yeah, if the employer is requiring it, why wouldn't it? And so I thought, okay, this is a good bill. Now, Representative Skog, who is the co-sponsor of this bill, that's what he does for a living. He's a lawyer, and he represents people that are hurt on the job. He's a worker compensation lawyer. That's what he does. And so he came with this having some inside knowledge. He knew what was going on. This bill was written solid for people to be able to get workers' compensation. So the bill was written. Again, we went through 3.5 hours of debate, questions, public testimony, and then the chairman asked for a motion. And the motion that was given was to hold the bill. And it was quickly seconded. The vote was, and it was called for a vote, and the committee voted. Every member of the committee voted to hold the bill, except for one senator, and that was Senator Anthony. So it was, I think, there's 6 on the committee, so 5-1. So again, House Bill 417 was killed. Never had a chance. Never made it to the Senate floor, didn't have an opportunity to vote for it. It died. So 2 bills down. The third bill, again, I liked it. Okay, well, maybe we can get something. Maybe we can get something. So the third bill comes up. This bill is sponsored by, and I'm going to slaughter his name, and I'm sorry, Representative Mendendive, I think is how you pronounce it. It's House Bill 419, if you want to go look that up. This bill basically says, the heck with exemptions. Who are you to ask me if I was vaccinated or not? Who are you to ask me what my health is? Those things are personal, and I shouldn't be required to divulge that information. And so this bill here basically said that as an employer, you cannot require an employee to divulge his health status, his vaccination, okay? And thought, okay, this is a good bill. However, as they started debating the bill and listening to the bill, they realized that he had forgotten to put an emergency clause on this bill. So what does that mean? Basically, it means without an emergency clause, this bill, if it was voted on and everybody passed it, the governor signed it, if that all happened, the bill cannot go into effect for 3 months. So it wouldn't be going into effect until February. And so the comment was made, well, we might as well let this bill die for now, and let's get it in 7 weeks, January, when we're in session, when we can really look at it and have the time to vet it and go through the system. And so at that, the bill, there was no motion. Nothing was said. And so this bill died. So House Bill 419 died. So again, in the end, no bills were moved to the Senate floor. We weren't able to vote on anything. Nothing happened. I'm embarrassed. I'm kind of sick about it, but that's the way it is. Nothing happened. Nothing got to us to vote for. So I was very upset, very embarrassed, upset that I had spent 3 days without work, 3 days without income to go to Boise and come home without anything. All right, well, there is a little bit of good news. Let me just give you a status update on the status of the lawsuits against the Biden administration. There are 3 Biden mandates. 1 was issued as an executive order, 2 as federal regulations, and there are multiple lawsuits against all 3 of these mandates. There are a whole bunch of them. The large employer mandate, this is the one dealing with the OSHA that we've heard a lot lately. This affects over 100 million workers. Idaho, along with many other states, filed a suit in the Sixth Circuit Court in Cincinnati. The Idaho legislature, House Speaker and Senate Pro Tem also filed a motion in the Sixth Circuit. There are 33 other petitions filed in every single federal circuit court in the nation. That tells you something, that there are a lot of upset people with these mandates. The Fifth Circuit Court issued a stay on the OSHA regulation, and I believe, as we've heard this last couple of days, OSHA backed off, said, okay, fine. So that's kind of good news for us. I'm excited about that. Okay, the next one, the federal employee contractor mandate. This mandate affects 20% of our workforce. The state of Idaho, along with many other states, have filed a suit in the Southern District of Georgia. A hearing on this motion is scheduled, I believe, for December 3rd. So nothing's happening on that yet. Another one that's a big one that will affect a lot of workers here in Idaho is the Medicare/Medicaid healthcare workers mandate. This one affects over 17 million healthcare workers. Idaho and numerous other states have filed suit in the District Court of Louisiana. And so there are all kinds of suits being filed against the mandates against the Biden administration. It's the feeling of most lawyers that, you think, oh yeah, it's going to get in the courts and it will take years to get out. Well, most lawyers believe that this will go through the courts fairly quick, really quick, because of the large number of people that are affected by it, that they think that we'll see some outcome of it. And they also believe that the Supreme Court will review it, that they will definitely be involved as well. So, let's see. Redistricting, a little news on that. I believe there's 2 lawsuits. Durst, who is running for the superintendent of education in the state of Idaho, he filed a suit against the redistricting, and so did Ada County. And so that's still kind of up in the air, but that has to be settled here fairly quick. So I think we'll see something happen with that real quick. I'm seeing a bunch of questions, but I cannot read them, and so I will get back on and I will answer your questions, and I'm sorry I won't be able to answer them live, but I will. But if you want, stay on and look at it, and I will go through your questions and try to answer them. I'm just seeing things scroll through, but I can't see it. Sorry, it's too small on my phone. Okay, The breakfast with the Cooks Idaho trivia question. So, Idaho has the world's largest factory for what? And it has the capacity of producing 120,000 metric tons per year. What is it? It's barrel cheese. With all of the milk that we produce, milk producing state, we produce the most cheese, barrel cheese anyway. Last week we had a trivia question about the dairy, about Idaho, where we stood in milk production to the rest of the states in the nation. And we are the third. Idaho is the third in the nation, and it produces 15.6 billion pounds of milk a year. Okay, so that's all I got for today. Again, Saturday's a sacred day. Get caught up on get everything done. Have a wonderful weekend. Join me next week with Breakfast with the Cooks, and we'll go over some more of these issues and hopefully have some good news on the update of the lawsuits. Thank you for joining me. And again, if you have questions, stick them out there, and I will try my hardest to answer them. Thank you, and have a great weekend. We'll see ya.